wife came home from a work retreat with a hickey she swore. It was a bug bite, but her lies exposed a secret that destroyed our family forever. I'm 27, and my wife Rachel is 28. We've been married for almost 6 years now, and we have a 4-year-old daughter, Emily. Things have never been perfect, but we've always made it work. At least, that's what I thought. Rachel works in corporate. Her job has these annual work retreats that last about a week. Normally, I'd go with her. We'd make it a family thing, and it was always something we looked forward to. But this year, everything was different. Emily's been having a hard time traveling long distances. She gets really anxious, and after some long talks, Rachel and I decided it was best if I stayed home with her. I was disappointed, sure, but Rachel said it would only be a week, and she promised we'd find another way to reconnect as a family. The retreat was in Vegas this year. Rachel was excited, more excited than usual, I'd say. She'd been working long hours and mentioned that this would be a chance for her to network and relax. I believed her. I trusted her completely. But things started to feel off. The first day she was gone, everything seemed normal. We FaceTimed. She checked in with me and Emily, and things felt like they always did. But then, after the second day, her calls became less frequent. When we did talk, she seemed distracted, like she was in a rush to hang up. I remember texting her about something important, something about Emily, and she left me on read for hours. When I finally brought it up, she said she never saw the message. But I could see she'd been active on social media, posting pictures and videos from the retreat. One picture stood out. It was Rachel, smiling at some fancy dinner surrounded by coworkers. But what caught my eye was the guy sitting right next to her. His name was Alex. He's this 23-year-old new hire in her department. Rachel's mentioned him a few times, saying she's been mentoring him because he's struggling to fit in. In the picture, Alex had his arm around Rachel's chair. It wasn't anything blatant, but it made me uncomfortable. I told myself I was overthinking it. I didn't want to be that guy, the one who gets jealous over a harmless picture. But then there was the incident with Emily's birthday. Emily's birthday happened to fall during the retreat. Rachel and I had planned to do a mini celebration over FaceTime. Emily was so excited. She kept talking about it all day. But when the time came, Rachel didn't call. When I finally got a hold of her, she said she had people in her room after a seminar and couldn't step away. She sounded annoyed, like I was bothering her. I told her that Emily was upset, and all she said was, "I'll make it up to her tomorrow." But she didn't. The next day came and went, and Rachel didn't call. Emily cried herself to sleep that night. I tried to stay calm, but something about Rachel's behavior was starting to eat away at me. When she finally came home, I noticed it right away. There was a mark on her neck, just above her collarbone. It wasn't huge, but it was noticeable. I asked her about it, and she laughed it off, saying it was a bug bite she got while they were out one night. But it didn't look like a bug bite. It looked like a hickey. I didn't bring up the mark on Rachel's neck right away. Emily was excited to have her mom back, and I didn't want to ruin that moment for her. But the more I looked at it, the more certain I became that it wasn't a bug bite. When Emily went to bed that night, I asked Rachel about it again. She rolled her eyes and said, "Why do you keep bringing this up? I already told you it's a bug bite. I didn't let it go." "It doesn't look like a bug bite, Rachel. It looks like a hickey." Her expression changed. She wasn't laughing anymore. She looked offended, angry even. "Are you serious right now? You're accusing me of cheating because of a stupid mark on my neck." "I'm not accusing you of anything," I said, trying to stay calm. "I'm just telling you what it looks like. And with the way you were acting during the retreat." That set her off. She started yelling, accusing me of being insecure and paranoid. She brought up Emily's birthday, saying I was still mad about her missing it, and that I was using this as an excuse to pick a fight. But I wasn't backing down. This isn't about Emily's birthday, Rachel. This is about you coming home with a hickey and expecting me to believe it's a bug bite. Do you really think I'm that stupid? She stormed out of the room and slept on the couch that night. The next morning, things were tense. Rachel was all over Emily, showering her with affection, trying to make up for missing her birthday. But when it came to me, she barely said a word. I tried to talk to her again after Emily went down for her nap. Rachel, I'm not trying to fight. I just want the truth. If there's nothing going on, just tell me. I'll drop it. She sighed, avoiding my eyes. There's nothing going on, okay? I don't know what else you want me to say. I can't believe you'd even think I'd cheat on you. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her so badly. But something about the way she said it didn't sit right with me. And then there was Alex. I couldn't get that picture out of my head. The way he had his arm around her chair. The way she was smiling at him. I went through her social media again, looking at all the pictures and videos from the retreat. Alex was in almost every single one. I decided to bring him up. What's the deal with Alex? I asked. What do you mean? I mean, he's in all your pictures. You mentioned you were mentoring him, but it seems like you two were pretty close during the retreat. She looked annoyed. He's new, okay? He doesn't know anyone, and I was just trying to make him feel welcome. Why are you making this a big deal? Because it feels like there's more to the story, I said. There's not, she snapped. He's just a coworker, that's it. But the way she said it didn't convince me. If anything, it made me even more suspicious. That night, after Rachel went to bed, I did something I've never done before. I went through her phone. I hesitated before opening Rachel's phone. I hated that I was doing this. We'd always promised each other trust and transparency. But now I felt like I didn't have a choice. Her phone didn't have a password, something we agreed on years ago when we got married. My hands were shaking as I opened her messages. The first thing I noticed was that her conversations with Alex were pinned to the top of her chat list. That alone made my stomach drop. I opened the chat and began scrolling through their messages. At first, everything seemed normal. They talked about work, deadlines, and assignments. But then I reached the messages from the retreat, and my heart sank. There were late-night messages from Alex. Alex, that was fun. We should do it again sometime. Rachel, ha ha ha, yeah. It was nice to relax for a bit. Relax? What exactly did that mean? Then there was another one. Alex, I can't stop thinking about last night. Rachel, Alex, please don't. We can't talk about this. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. I kept scrolling, and it only got worse. There were messages from the night she missed Emily's birthday FaceTime. Alex, I'm glad you decided to come. You deserve a break. Rachel, thanks. I needed it. Just don't let anyone see us. I stopped reading. My hands were trembling, and I felt like I was going to throw up. I checked her photos next, and that's when I found them. Pictures of Rachel and Alex laughing and sitting way too close together. There was even a picture of them at a hotel bar, her hand on his arm. But the worst part? There was a blurry picture of them in what looked like a hotel room. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, and he was standing next to her, both smiling. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The woman I'd loved, the mother of my child, had betrayed me. I put her phone down and sat there in silence, trying to process everything. My mind was racing. How could she do this to me? To Emily? I didn't confront her that night. I needed time to think, to figure out how I was going to handle this. The next morning, Rachel acted like everything was fine. She made breakfast, played with Emily, and kissed me on the cheek, like nothing was wrong. I couldn't take it anymore. Rachel, we need to talk, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She froze, the smile disappearing from her face. What is it? I didn't say anything. I just handed her phone to her, with the messages and photos pulled up. Her face turned pale as she looked at the screen. Michael, I can explain. Explain what? I interrupted, my voice rising. Explain how you lied to me? How you cheated on me while I was here, taking care of our daughter. It's not what it looks like, she said, tears streaming down her face. Then tell me what it is, I demanded. She couldn't. She just stood there crying, while I stared at her, waiting for an answer that never came. Rachel, I trusted you, I said, my voice breaking. I loved you. How could you do this to us? I didn't mean for it to happen, she sobbed. It was a mistake. I swear it didn't mean anything. A mistake, I repeated, laughing bitterly. A mistake is forgetting to turn off the oven. What you did was a choice. She tried to reach for me, but I stepped back. Don't, I said. I can't even look at you right now. I walked out of the house, needing to get some air. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew one thing for sure. Our marriage would never be the same again. I sat in the car for what felt like hours, trying to calm myself. My heart was racing, and my mind was flooded with memories of Rachel, the college sweetheart I fell in love with. The woman who made promises at the altar now seemed like a stranger. When I finally returned to the house, Rachel was sitting on the couch, her face stained with tears. She looked up at me, her lips trembling, but I wasn't ready for more excuses. Michael, she whispered, please, let me explain. I crossed my arms, keeping my distance. Explain what? That you broke our family? That you lied to me? Go ahead, Rachel. I'm all ears. She wiped her face and took a shaky breath. It wasn't supposed to happen. Alex and I, we didn't mean for it to go this far. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. So you admit it, I said coldly. You admit you've been cheating on me. Rachel shook her head furiously. No, it wasn't like that. It was just one night. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking straight. Don't give me that, I snapped. You weren't drunk when you texted him. You weren't drunk when you invited him to your room. This wasn't a mistake, Rachel. This was a choice. She broke down sobbing, burying her face in her hands. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to hurt Emily. I don't even know who I am anymore. Her words only fueled my anger. You don't know who you are. You're a liar and a cheater. That's who you are. And now, our daughter has to grow up in a broken home because of you. Rachel looked up at me, her eyes red and swollen. Please, Michael, don't do this. Don't throw everything away. We can fix this. I'll do whatever it takes. Fix this? I repeated bitterly. You think we can just fix this? Do you have any idea what you've done? You destroyed the trust in our marriage. You betrayed me, Rachel. That's not something you just fix. She got up from the couch and approached me cautiously. Michael, I love you. I love Emily. Please don't give up on us. I backed away, shaking my head. You don't love me. If you did, you wouldn't have done this. Love isn't just words, Rachel. It's actions, and your actions have shown me exactly where your priorities are. Rachel dropped to her knees, clutching my hands. I'll cut all contact with Alex. I'll quit my job if that's what you want. Just give me another chance. Please. Her desperation was pitiful, but it wasn't enough. Do you even hear yourself? I asked. You're willing to quit your job now, but you weren't willing to prioritize your family when it mattered. I begged you to skip that retreat. I begged you to be there for Emily's birthday, but you chose him over us." Her tears flowed freely as she tried to defend herself. "I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was helping my career, helping our family." I laughed bitterly. "Helping our family? Do you honestly believe that? Because all I see is someone who was willing to throw everything away for a fling with a coworker." She couldn't answer me. She just sat there sobbing as I stared down at her, feeling a mix of anger, sadness, and betrayal. "I need time to think," I said finally. "But right now, I don't see a future for us." Rachel's face crumpled, and she reached for me again. But I turned and walked away. I couldn't take it anymore. As I left the house, I couldn't help but wonder how I was going to explain all of this to Emily. How do you tell a 4-year-old that her family is falling apart? I spent the night driving aimlessly, trying to piece together the life I thought I knew. Memories of Rachel and me flooded my mind. Our first date, the night we danced under the stars, the day we brought Emily home from the hospital. How did we get here? How did she become the person who could do this to me? I eventually ended up at my best friend Daniel's house. He'd always been my sounding board, the person I turned to when life felt impossible. He opened the door and took one look at me before pulling me into a hug. "Michael," he said, guiding me inside. "What happened?" I sat down on his couch, my hands trembling, as I told him everything. The retreat, the Hickey, Alex, and Rachel's confession. He listened without interrupting, his face growing darker with every word. When I finished, Daniel let out a long sigh. "Man, I don't even know what to say. She messed up big time. But what are you gonna do?" I shook my head. "I don't know. She's begging me to give her another chance. But how do I forgive something like this? How do I ever trust her again?" Daniel leaned forward, his hands clasped together. "Look, I'm not saying you should forgive her, but you need to figure out what's best for you and Emily. This isn't just about you and Rachel anymore. It's about your daughter, too." His words hit me like a punch to the gut. Emily. How was I going to protect her from all of this? She was so young, so innocent. She didn't deserve to grow up in the middle of a war zone. When I finally returned home, it was past midnight. The house was silent, but the weight of Rachel's betrayal hung in the air. I walked into our bedroom to find her sitting on the edge of the bed, clutching a framed photo of the three of us. Her eyes were swollen, and she looked like she hadn't moved since I left. She glanced up at me, her voice barely above a whisper. "Did you decide what you're going to do?" I didn't answer right away. Instead, I leaned against the doorframe, studying her. "I want the truth, Rachel. The whole truth. No more excuses, no more lies. I deserve that much." She nodded, her hands trembling as she set the photo down. "You're right, you do. I never wanted to hurt you, Michael, I swear. But it wasn't just one night." Her words felt like a dagger to my chest. I struggled to stay composed. "How long, Rachel? How long has this been going on?" She hesitated, tears streaming down her face. 4 months, she admitted. "It started after Alex's first week at the office. I didn't plan for it to happen. But we got close, too close." I clenched my fists, trying to contain the anger boiling inside me. 4 months? You've been lying to me for 4 months? And what about Emily? Did you even think about her while you were sneaking around with him? Rachel sobbed, her shoulders shaking. "I thought I could handle it. I thought I could keep it separate from our family. But I was wrong. I see that now. I ruined everything." "You didn't just ruin everything," I said coldly. "You destroyed our family. You destroyed us." She looked up at me, desperation etched into her face. "I'll do whatever it takes to fix this, Michael. Therapy, counseling, anything. Just please don't give up on us." I stared at her, the woman I had once loved more than anything in the world. But now, all I saw was a stranger. I don't know if there's anything left to fix, I said, my voice breaking. You made your choice, Rachel. And now, I have to make mine. I turned and left the room, ignoring her cries. I needed space, clarity, and time to figure out how to move forward. For myself and for Emily. The next morning, I woke up on the couch with a stiff neck and a heavier heart. Rachel had left a note on the coffee table, pleading for another conversation, but I wasn't ready. My focus had to be on Emily. When she woke up, I did my best to keep things normal. Pancakes for breakfast, her favorite cartoon on the TV, and plenty of hugs. She giggled as I made funny faces while flipping the pancakes, but deep down, I felt like a fraud. Rachel stayed in the bedroom most of the morning, giving me space but texting me repeatedly. I didn't reply. Her desperation didn't feel like love. It felt like guilt. By noon, I decided to step out and clear my head. I dropped Emily off at my mom's house, explaining that I needed a little time to figure some things out. My mom didn't press for details, but her concerned look told me she knew something was wrong. I ended up at a nearby park, sitting on a bench and staring at the families playing together. Fathers pushing their kids on swings, moms laughing as their toddlers stumbled through the grass. It hit me then. This was all I ever wanted. A happy family, a strong marriage, stability for Emily. But now it all felt like a cruel joke. Rachel's betrayal wasn't just about Alex. It was about everything. Her lies, her selfishness, her willingness to throw away our family for some fleeting thrill. My thoughts were interrupted by a call from Daniel. "Hey man, you doing okay?" he asked. "Not really," I admitted. "I don't know what to do, Daniel. I feel like I'm stuck between wanting to fight for my family and knowing I'll never trust her again." Daniel sighed. "Look, Michael, trust doesn't come back overnight. If you even want to try, it's going to take a hell of a lot of work. From both of you. But if you don't think you can ever forgive her, that's okay too. You have to do what's best for you. And Emily." His words stuck with me as I drove back home. When I walked through the door, Rachel was waiting for me in the living room. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept all night. "Michael, please," she started, standing as I walked in. "I know I hurt you, and I'll never forgive myself for it. But I'm begging you to at least let me try to fix this." I set my keys down and looked at her, my expression cold. "Why now, Rachel? Why do you suddenly care so much about fixing things? You didn't seem to care when you were sneaking around with Alex." She flinched at my words, tears welling in her eyes. "Because I was stupid and selfish, and I didn't realize what I was throwing away until it was too late. I love you, Michael. I love our family. I'll do whatever it takes to prove that to you." I shook my head, feeling the weight of everything crashing down on me. "Love isn't just a word, Rachel. It's actions. And your actions have shown me exactly how much you love me." She sobbed, collapsing onto the couch. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm begging you for another chance. Please, Michael. For Emily's sake, if nothing else." Her mention of Emily made my chest tighten. I hated that my daughter was caught in the middle of this mess, but I couldn't let Rachel use her as a bargaining chip. "I'll think about it," I said finally, my voice devoid of emotion. "But I'm not making any promises." Rachel nodded, wiping her tears. "That's all I'm asking." "Thank you." I walked upstairs, leaving her in the living room. I needed time to think, to figure out what my next steps were. But one thing was clear. I couldn't just sweep this under the rug. Rachel's betrayal had changed everything, and there was no going back to the way things were. The days that followed were tense. Rachel was trying everything, making dinner, taking on extra chores, spending time with Emily. But none of it mattered to me. I couldn't look at her without hearing Alex's smug laugh in my head, or seeing that hickey on her neck. I stayed cordial for Emily's sake, but the wall between Rachel and me was impenetrable. She knew it too. Every time I caught her looking at me, her eyes filled with sadness. But I didn't care. She put us here. One evening, while Emily was asleep, Rachel asked if we could talk again. I agreed, though I didn't expect anything to change. We sat across from each other at the dining table, the silence heavy between us. "Michael," she began, her voice trembling, "I know I've hurt you in ways I can never take back. I know I betrayed your trust, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life. But I can't give up on us. I won't." I leaned back in my chair, my arms crossed. "You say that, Rachel, but words don't mean anything anymore. You made your choice. You chose Alex over me, over Emily." Her face crumpled. "I didn't choose him. It was a mistake, a stupid, selfish mistake. I was feeling lost, disconnected, and he took advantage of that. But I never loved him, Michael. I only love you." I shook my head, bitterness creeping into my voice. "You don't destroy the people you love, Rachel. You don't throw away your family for a mistake." Tears streamed down her face, but I didn't feel sympathy. I'd spent too many nights crying myself, wondering where I went wrong. "Michael, please," she whispered. "Tell me what I can do to make this right." I stared at her for a long moment, the weight of the decision pressing down on me. Could I forgive her? Could I ever look at her without remembering her betrayal? The answer was clear. "You can't," I said finally. "Some things can't be fixed, Rachel. And this is one of them." Her sobs filled the room as I stood up, but I didn't waver. "I'm filing for divorce. I've already spoken to a lawyer. We'll work out custody arrangements for Emily. But as far as we're concerned, this marriage is over." Rachel collapsed into the chair, her cries echoing in the house. But I didn't look back. I walked upstairs, closing the door to our bedrooms, the room we once shared but no longer did. The divorce process was messy and painful, but it was the only path forward. Rachel tried to fight it at first, but eventually she accepted it. Emily struggled with the changes, and I did my best to help her through it. I made sure she knew she was loved, and that none of this was her fault. Months later, as I sat on the couch watching Emily color in her sketchbook, I realized something. Life had a way of breaking you, but it also gave you the strength to rebuild. Rachel's betrayal had shattered me, but it didn't define me. I was more than a husband, more than a man who had been cheated on. I was a father, a friend, and someone who deserved happiness, and I would find it on my own terms. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more dramatic tales of betrayal and resilience. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.